41 voicemails. That is the number sitting on my screen right now from a man I spent 3 years loving. 3 years of believing he was the one I would marry. I never imagined that the dress I saved 2 months of paychecks to buy would become his excuse to humiliate me. And I certainly never expected to be locked inside his car for 2 hours, just steps away from his sister's wedding while he told me my face was too pathetic for his family to see. Before I share what happened next, let me know where you are watching from by dropping a comment below. And if you believe no one deserves to be treated this way, please hit that like button and subscribe to support my channel. Now, let me take you back to that day. I met Garrett at a company party 3 years ago. He worked in sales at a firm downtown, and I was there with a friend who knew someone who knew someone, the usual networking thing. He walked up to me near the appetizer table with this confident smile and asked if I had tried the stuffed mushrooms yet. Such a simple question, but somehow it felt like the start of something real. Those first few months were everything I had ever dreamed of. Garrett opened car doors for me. He remembered tiny details I mentioned in passing, like how I preferred lavender over roses, or how I always ordered my coffee with oat milk. He sent flowers to my office on random Tuesdays just because he was thinking of me. I felt seen in a way I had never experienced before. His family welcomed me with open arms. His mother, Diane, treated me like a daughter from the very first dinner. She would call me just to chat, ask about my day, send me recipes she thought I might enjoy. His younger sister, Paige, was equally warm. She would text me about her dating life, ask for advice, invite me to brunch. I felt like I had found not just a boyfriend, but an entire family I could belong to. My own life was simple. I worked as an accountant at a mid-sized firm. The pay was decent, but nothing extravagant. I had to budget carefully, plan ahead for bigger purchases, and save deliberately for anything beyond the basics. But I was proud of my independence. I had built my life on my own terms. Looking back now, I can see the cracks that I chose to ignore back then. About a year into our relationship, Garrett started making little comments about my appearance. At first, they sounded like suggestions. You should try that new gym near your place. That color does not really suit your skin tone. Maybe wear something more fitted next time. When I asked if something was wrong, he would laugh and say I was being too sensitive. He was just trying to help me look my best. I wanted to believe him. Slowly, he stopped introducing me to new people in his life. When his colleagues had gatherings, he would go alone and say it was a work thing, nothing I would enjoy. When he made new friends, I would hear about them but never meet them. I told myself he was just protective of our private time together. I did not want to see what was really happening. Then came the news that changed everything. 6 months before that terrible day, Paige announced her engagement to Marcus. They had been dating for 2 years, and everyone adored him. The wedding was set for late September at a beautiful garden venue outside the city. I was genuinely happy for her. This felt like a chance to strengthen my bond with Garrett's family even more. I decided I wanted to do something special. I would buy a beautiful dress and an unforgettable gift, the kind of gesture that showed I was serious about being part of this family for the long term. So I started saving. I cut back on eating out completely. I stopped buying new clothes for myself. I picked up extra projects at work whenever I could. For 2 solid months, I put every spare dollar toward this goal. Finally, I had enough. I found a navy blue dress that was elegant without being flashy. It had a modest neckline and fell just below my knees, classy and appropriate for a wedding. For the gift, I chose a premium kitchen appliance set that Paige had mentioned wanting months ago. I was proud of myself. This felt meaningful. When I showed Garrett the dress and the gift, he barely glanced at them. Just a quick look and a flat response. Yeah, that is fine. No enthusiasm, no appreciation for the effort I had put in. I felt a sting of disappointment but pushed it aside. He was probably stressed about the wedding preparations. The week leading up to the wedding, Garrett became increasingly irritable. He snapped at me over small things. He was short in his responses. One evening, he said something that made me pause. "I am not sure you should even come. It is a family event, you know." I stared at him in disbelief. We had been together for 3 years. His mother and sister both expected me there. What was he talking about? When I pushed back, he changed his tone immediately. He laughed it off, said he was just joking, and, of course, I was coming. But something felt off. A knot formed in my stomach that I could not quite explain. The night before the wedding, I tried on my dress one more time. I looked at myself in the mirror and felt confident. The navy blue complemented my skin. The fit was perfect. I paired it with earrings that had belonged to my mother, small pearls that made me feel connected to her. I went to bed feeling hopeful, even though that unnamed unease still lingered somewhere beneath the surface. The morning of the wedding arrived with bright sunshine and clear skies. A perfect September day. I woke up early to give myself plenty of time to get ready. I did my makeup carefully, going for a natural look that enhanced without overwhelming. I styled my hair in soft waves. When I slipped into my navy dress and added my mother's earrings, I felt genuinely beautiful for the first time in months. Garrett came downstairs and stopped when he saw me. He looked me up and down slowly. His expression was unreadable. After a long pause, he spoke. "You are really wearing that?" The question hit me like cold water. I asked if there was something wrong with it. He shook his head and muttered something about how we should just go. The drive to the venue was painfully silent. Garrett kept his eyes on the road and his jaw tight. I tried making conversation a few times. I commented on the beautiful weather, asked if he was excited for his sister, mentioned how lovely the venue was supposed to be. Every attempt was met with one-word answers or dismissive grunts. The tension in the car was suffocating. When we finally arrived at the garden venue, I could see why Paige had chosen it. Rolling green lawns, perfectly trimmed hedges, flowers in full bloom everywhere. Guests were already arriving, dressed in their finest, laughing and greeting each other with hugs. It looked like something from a magazine, but Garrett did not park near the main entrance. Instead, he drove to a far corner of the parking lot behind a row of tall bushes that blocked the view from the main area. I assumed he just wanted a spot where the car would not get dinged by other doors. I reached for my door handle. "Wait." His voice stopped me. I looked at him, expecting him to say something about fixing my lipstick or adjusting my hair, maybe even a last-minute compliment to ease the strange tension. What came out of his mouth instead shattered something inside me. "Stay here. I am going in first. I will come back for you later." His tone was flat, matter of fact, like he was giving directions to a stranger. I did not understand. Why would I stay in the car? The ceremony was starting soon. People were already walking toward the garden. He turned to face me fully, then, and the coldness in his eyes made my blood freeze. "My family does not need to see your pathetic face. And that dress. It is disgusting. You look ridiculous. Did you really think you could show up like this and embarrass me in front of everyone?" The words slammed into me one after another. Pathetic. Disgusting. Embarrassed. 3 years together, and this was how he saw me. I opened my mouth to respond, but nothing came out. Before I could gather my thoughts, he reached over and grabbed my phone from my hand. "You do not need this. Just sit here and wait. I will come get you when I am ready." He stepped out of the car, hit the lock button on his key fob, and walked away without looking back. I heard the click of the locks engaging, then silence. Complete and devastating silence. I tried the door handle, locked. I tried the window controls, dead, because the car was off and the electrical system needed the key. I looked around frantically for something, anything that could help. There was nothing, just me alone in a locked car in a far corner of a parking lot on one of the hottest days of September. The heat started building almost immediately. The sun was directly overhead, and the car sat in full exposure. Within 15 minutes, sweat was beading on my forehead. Within 30 minutes, my carefully applied makeup was running. Within an hour, I felt like I was sitting in an oven. Through the windshield, I could see glimpses of wedding guests in the distance. They walked past, laughing and chatting, completely unaware that someone was trapped just a few hundred feet away. I wanted to scream. I wanted to pound on the windows until someone heard me. But then what? Cause a scene at Paige's wedding, ruin her special day because of what Garrett had done? The thought of Paige stopped me. She had done nothing wrong. She had only ever been kind to me. If I made a commotion, it would become the story of her wedding, the day her brother's girlfriend went crazy in the parking lot. I could not do that to her, so I sat there, sweating, crying, watching my mascara create dark rivers down my cheeks in the rearview mirror, trying to breathe slowly to conserve energy in the stifling heat. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours. Somewhere in that haze of heat and tears, my mind started working differently. I stopped asking what I had done wrong. Instead, I started asking why I had stayed so long with someone who could do this. I thought about every cutting comment he had made about my appearance, every time he made me feel small, every time he dismissed my feelings as being too sensitive. This was not a single bad day. This was a pattern I had been too afraid or too hopeful to see clearly. But sitting in that sweltering car with nowhere to go and nothing to do but think, I finally saw it all with brutal clarity. Something shifted inside me during those 2 hours. The tears dried up, not because the pain stopped, but because something stronger took its place. When I looked in the rearview mirror at my ruined makeup and sweat-soaked hair, I did not see someone pathetic. I saw someone who had finally woken up. I used what little moisture I could find to wipe the worst of the mascara streaks from my face. I finger-combed my damp hair into something presentable. By the time I heard footsteps approaching the car nearly 2 hours later, I was ready. Not ready to forgive, ready to survive, ready to play whatever game needed to be played until I could escape for good. The lock clicked open, and there stood Garrett looking perfectly put together in his suit, not a drop of sweat on him. He glanced at me with an expression of mild annoyance, like I was an inconvenience he had briefly forgotten about. "Ceremony is over. Reception is starting. Come on, let us go. No apology. No acknowledgement of leaving me to bake in a locked car for 2 hours. He spoke as if he had just stepped away to grab a coffee. I climbed out on shaky legs. My muscles ached from sitting so long in the cramped space. My head throbbed from dehydration. He looked me over and wrinkled his nose. "You look like a mess. Try to smile or something. Do not embarrass me." Those words would have destroyed me 2 hours earlier. Now they barely registered. I had already decided what I needed to do. I just needed to get through this reception without causing a scene for Paige. We walked toward the garden where the reception was in full swing. Guests mingled around cocktail tables draped in white linens. A string quartet played softly in the background. Everything was beautiful and elegant and completely surreal given what I had just experienced. A group approached us. 3 women in matching lavender dresses, clearly bridesmaids. One of them, a tall blonde with sharp features, smiled at Garrett with obvious interest. "And who is this?" she asked, gesturing toward me. Garrett's hand landed on my shoulder. Not a loving touch, but a performative one. Distant, possessive in the wrong way. "Oh, this is Nerissa, just a friend." Then he winked at the blonde bridesmaid. Actually winked right in front of me while calling me just a friend after 3 years together. The bridesmaid, whose name I later learned was Brianna, smirked at me with a mixture of pity and superiority. "Just a friend. Got it." Her eyes traveled over my wrinkled dress, my salvaged makeup, my heat-frazzled hair. I could see exactly what she was thinking, but I smiled, politely, calmly, like nothing was wrong at all. because I knew something none of them did. This was the last time Garrett would ever have any power over me. I spent the rest of the reception being the perfect guest. I found Diane and hugged her warmly when she expressed concern about us arriving late. I told her we hit unexpected traffic and apologized for missing the ceremony. She squeezed my hand and said she was just glad I made it. Sweet Diane, who had no idea what her son had done, Paige rushed over in her beautiful white gown, practically glowing with happiness. She thanked me profusely for the gift, said it was exactly what she wanted, and told me I looked lovely, despite what I felt like inside. I congratulated her and Marcus sincerely. Whatever her brother was, Paige deserved happiness on her wedding day. Through it all, I watched Garrett. He flirted openly with Brianna across the room. He barely acknowledged my presence. He introduced me as a friend 2 more times to different groups of guests. Each time I smiled and said nothing. I was gathering evidence, confirming what I already knew. That night, we drove back in silence. Garrett had drunk too much champagne and was in what he probably thought was a good mood, humming along to the radio, completely unbothered by everything that had happened. When we got back to his place, he collapsed on the couch and was snoring within minutes. I stood over him for a moment, looking at this man I had wasted 3 years on. Then I carefully retrieved my phone from his jacket pocket where he had stashed it. I meant to just check my messages, see if anyone had tried to reach me, but his phone buzzed at that moment and a notification lit up the screen. From Brianna. Tonight was so fun. When can I see you again, with a heart emoji? My hands trembled. I knew the passcode to his phone. He had set it as my birthday back when he still pretended to care. I typed it in and opened his messages. What I found made me sick. Conversations with Brianna going back 2 months. Flirtatious texts that escalated into explicit ones. Plans to meet up. Photos exchanged. And worse, so much worse, messages where he talked about me. She is so clingy, it is pathetic. I am just waiting for the right time to end it. She actually thinks I am going to marry her. Can you imagine spending forever with someone that boring? I read every single message. I took screenshots and sent them to my own phone. I documented everything with cold precision. Then I put his phone back exactly where I found it and I started planning. The rest of that night, I did not sleep. I quietly gathered every belonging of mine from his apartment. My toothbrush, my spare clothes, the book I had left on his nightstand, small things I had accumulated over 3 years. I packed them silently into bags and carried them to my car in multiple trips while he snored on the couch. By 5 in the morning, every trace of me was gone from his space. I left before he woke up. No note, no explanation, nothing for him to argue with or manipulate. Over the next few days, I blocked his number on everything. Phone, social media, email, every platform where he could reach me. Then I made 2 very important phone calls. The first was to Diane. I told her everything. The car, the 2 hours in the heat, being called pathetic and disgusting, being introduced as just a friend, and yes, the affair with Brianna that had been happening right under everyone's noses. She listened in shocked silence. When I finished, she was crying. She apologized over and over, saying she had no idea her son was capable of such cruelty. I told her I did not blame her, I just wanted her to know the truth. The second call was to Paige. I kept it shorter, not wanting to burden her during what should be a happy time as a newlywed. But she deserved to hear it from me rather than through family gossip. Her response was immediate fury at her brother and heartfelt apologies to me. The fallout happened without my direct involvement. Diane confronted Garrett. Paige refused to speak to him. The whole family learned what kind of man he really was. Brianna, upon discovering she was now known as the other woman who helped him cheat on his long-term girlfriend, apparently wanted nothing to do with the drama and cut contact with him completely. Garrett found himself suddenly alone. No girlfriend, no side piece, a family that could barely look at him. He tried desperately to reach me, but found every avenue blocked. So he started calling from new numbers, different phones, borrowed devices, anything to get through. The voicemails piled up. First came anger. How dare you tell my family you ruined everything? Then came bargaining. Can we just talk about this? I can explain. Then came desperation. Please, Narissa, I made a mistake. I love you. Please, just call me back. 41 voicemails in total. I saved every one, but never responded to any. The first few weeks after I left were not easy. 3 years is a long time to spend with someone. Even if that someone turned out to be cruel, there were nights I lay awake wondering if I had overreacted. Moments when loneliness crept in and whispered that maybe I should have given him a chance to explain. But then I would remember the sound of that car lock clicking shut, the feeling of sweat dripping down my back while wedding guests laughed in the distance, the casualness in his voice when he called me just a friend, and I knew I had made the right choice. My coworker Keely became my anchor during those dark days. She did not push me to talk or offer unsolicited advice. She simply showed up, brought takeout to my apartment, sat with me while we watched mindless television, made sure I ate and showered and got out of bed. Sometimes that quiet presence is worth more than 1,000 words. Slowly, I started rebuilding. I signed up for a yoga class, something I had always wanted to try, but Garrett had dismissed as pointless. I started reading books about boundaries and self-worth. I began to understand that what happened to me was not a single incident, but the culmination of years of small cruelties I had normalized. 1 month after leaving Garrett, I did a complete cleanse of my apartment. Every gift he had given me, every photo, every reminder of our relationship, I put it all in boxes and donated what I could and threw away the rest. My space finally felt like mine again. 2 months later, I received a promotion at work. My manager said I had been performing exceptionally well lately, more focused, more confident. I realized that so much of my energy had been going into managing Garrett's moods and expectations that I had nothing left for my own growth. Now that energy was mine again. 3 months after that day in the parking lot, I ran into Diane at a grocery store. She hugged me tightly and told me I looked wonderful, healthy and happy in a way she had not seen before. She shared that Garrett was seeing a therapist now at the family's insistence, that he was supposedly working on himself. I told her I genuinely hoped he would get better, and I meant it, not for his sake, but for the sake of whoever might come after me. No one deserves to be locked in a car and told their face is too pathetic to be seen. A few nights ago, I finally sat down and listened to all 41 voicemails. I needed to hear them, not because I missed him, but because I wanted to confirm that letting go was the right decision. His voice moved through so many phases across those messages: rage, self-pity, blame, brief moments of what sounded like genuine remorse, quickly followed by excuses and deflection. Not once did he truly understand what he had done wrong. He was sorry he got caught, sorry his family found out, sorry Brianna left. But he was not sorry for locking me in that car, not sorry for calling me pathetic, not sorry for 3 years of making me feel like I was never quite enough. I deleted every single voicemail when I was done. Then I blocked the new numbers he had used to call. I felt nothing but peace. Here is what I learned from all of this. Love should never require you to shrink yourself. It should never leave you sitting in a hot car wondering what you did wrong. It should never make you grateful just to be acknowledged as more than a friend after years of commitment. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. Do not wait until you are locked in a car at their sister's wedding to finally see the truth. These days, I still have that navy blue dress hanging in my closet. I wore it again last month to a friend's birthday dinner. When I looked in the mirror that night, I did not think about Garrett or the parking lot or the 2 hours of hell. I thought about the woman who walked away from all of it with her dignity intact. That is what I see now when I wear that dress. Strength, survival, a fresh start. Sometimes losing someone who never truly valued you is the only way to find yourself again. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment when you finally saw someone clearly for who they really were? What gave you the strength to walk away? Share your story in the comments below because I believe our experiences can help others who might be going through something similar right now. If this story resonated with you, please give it a like to help others find it too. Subscribe to this channel so you do not miss future stories. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message today, please share this video with them. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this community. I wish you all the courage to recognize your own worth and the strength to walk away from anyone who cannot see it. Until next time, take care of yourselves.